Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be comparing the HD660S versus the DT1990 Pro. Now both of these headphones lead the kind of $500 to $600 class. They're both frontliners. They are both very, very, very good. And this comparison and the reviews for both have been a lot of fun. Probably some of the most fun I've had on this channel because they're just amazing headphones. And this is going to be kind of a longer video, so if you want to skip to any particular part, go ahead and jump here. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the build of these guys. Let's cover the 660 first. So the 660 is primarily plastic, although my own personal experience and a lot of people I know, the 600 line lasts many, many years. And the only part that really degrades the time are the pads, and they're very easily replaceable. Actually, this entire headphone is pretty much designed so that you can take pretty much the entire thing apart by hand. It's got a very lightweight, very comfortable design. Personally, I think that the ability to kind of see through the grill into how the headphone is designed internally is beautiful in its own right. You get like a really structural feel to the design of how it looks, and I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really good. Now the DT1990 is different. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. The light glimmers off the grills and it's all made of metal and just has a solid, robust feeling, and it feels incredible. And despite being kind of a heavier headphone, they're really, really comfortable. And they have two different pairs of pads that differ not only in sound signature, but actually the density of the foam inside them. For the testing of this video, I was using the analytical pads. Overall, who wins for build? I would say for quality, definitely the 1990s. For comfort, longer listening sessions, because of the lightweight design, because I really like the oval ear cups, the right amount of clamp force, the dual-sided cables, I felt that overall comfort went to the Sennheiser. But overall build quality and having like actually something that's structurally more sound, that definitely went to the Beyer Dynamics. Okay, now let's talk about the power requirements for both of these. They're actually both relatively efficient in terms of high-end headphones. The Sennheiser is definitely the more efficient of the bunch. It's 150 ohm and the sensitivity is 104 dB, so it's pretty efficient. The 1990 is 250 ohm, but it does have a sensitivity of 102 decibels, so that one is pretty efficient as well. Off of a powerful enough phone, you could power the Sennheiser, and I wouldn't recommend that for the Beyer, but both are going to benefit from a good amplifier. Now on to sound, the fun stuff. I'm going to describe the overall sound signature, and then I'll get into the actual comparative aspects of this. The overall sound signature for the 660 is they are intimate vocal specialists. That's their party trick. That's what they do. That's what they're known for. The mid-range hump that's so familiar with the 600 line. These are no exception, and they do it exceptionally well. The overall sound for the 1990 is precise and clear everywhere. In all ranges, in every aspect, it's precise and it's clear, and that's really what these are really good at. Now I'm going to get into the comparative aspects, and keep in mind that when I say something has less treble or more bass or less bass, it's comparatively, not as the headphone itself. That type of information is going to be in the full reviews for each headphone. Links to those are down below. That being said, let's go ahead and get into trebles. The Sennheiser I felt was slightly less detailed, but less fatiguing. The highs are a little bit more controlled. You can definitely see that in a frequency response graph, but you can hear it as well. They're a little bit less bright. I felt like for longer listening sessions, they were going to be more enjoyable and less fatiguing. Slightly more pleasant for longer sessions, whereas the Beyer was more detailed. Quite a bit more detailed, actually substantially more detailed in certain areas, certain types of instruments, certain frequencies, but it was also a little bit brighter and a little bit more fatiguing, and I wouldn't really want to be listening to bright music on it for too long. I felt like that could kind of get to me a little bit. A great example is Natalia King's Little Bit of Rain. I definitely recommend you check that song out. All right, so bass. So I think we know how this one is gonna go. 600s have never been known for having particularly phenomenal bass. They're never horrible if you amplify them properly. They have bass. It's not a matter of, oh, they don't have any bass at all. It's just how much. And in comparison, it's not a lot. It is detailed, but it's not as low down. The extension isn't as good. The dynamic range within the bass is not as good. And there's little to no impact comparatively. On the other side, the 1990, everything about it, the extension, the texture, the clarity, the impact, the amount, the vastness of it, it's just so much greater than the Sennheiser. Now you may have noticed that I skipped mid-range. Now normally I go treble, mid-range, bass, imaging, and soundstage. I'm gonna skip mid-range for the end because I feel like that was a really interesting category. So regarding imaging and soundstage, I actually found the imaging to be very, very similar in terms of how pinpoint accurate it was. I felt like they were very comparable. However, on the 1990, the soundstage is wider, so the imaging has a little bit more to work with. It's just as accurate and it feels just as refined as the 660. It just has more area to move around. But both are very good for imaging. The 660, like you'll see in the full review, is better for soundstage than the predecessors. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say it's getting about like 70% as wide as the 1990 can sound. Okay, so mid-range. This is a weird one because I'm gonna cover mid-range in two ways. One is gonna be vocals, and two is gonna be instrumental mid-range. For vocals, the overall impression of vocals is better in more music on the HD660. However, if you were listening to a single a cappella singer and it's just the voice, no instruments, no backup singers, nothing, just the voice. Die Easy by Rag & Bone Man is a good example of this. If it's just the voice, the vocals are actually better on the 1990. The problem is when you get background music, when you get backup singers, for whatever reason, there's like a slight subtraction in the overall quality of the vocals. Whereas on the 660, it doesn't seem to diminish at all. And the 660, seemingly no matter what is going on in the background, it's always the same precision with the vocals. And it's because of that kind of famed vocal isolation. It's able to pull the vocals away from the background music, and it can do it in pretty much any song. The 1990 had kind of a harder time pulling away the vocals, and they kind of blended in a little bit more with the music. You may have your preference on which one you like. I don't know which one is better, but if I was just to judge vocals, I would say that the 660 had overall better vocal impressions throughout a more vast amount of music than the 1990 did. Now for instrumental mid-range, the detail and the clarity of the 1990 kind of takes the cake there. It's close. The instrumental mid-range is very good on the 660. I don't want you to think it's bad. Just if I had to compare the two, the 1990 is a little bit better. So what's the conclusion of all this? Because it sounds like everything is going to the 1990 and not many things are going to the 660. And I would say that's true, but also the way I'm explaining this has been a little bit misleading. See, the way the 660 works and the 600 line in general is, if you look at vocals and the way that they present vocals, it's almost like a party trick. It's something that you don't see too often on other headphones, but it does it so well. And it's different enough and it isolates in such a strange and unique way that you're not used to it, and you can really enjoy it if you're into that. Now for overall performance, yes, it's definitely gonna go to the 1990. They have a better professional sound, they have a better audiophile sound, they have a better and more enjoyable sound unless you really like that vocal isolation. So if you're a person who absolutely loves the 600 line, or you're doing really extended listening sessions, anywhere between like 4 to 8 hours, then the HD600 is actually pretty much where I recommend going. If you're a professional, if you want the absolute best in the most amount of categories, and you're willing to give a little bit here for a large amount here, go with the 1990s. Now I'll leave it up to you to determine which one you guys prefer. But I will say this, if you were to buy either headphone, honestly, I do not think you would be disappointed. I don't feel like you'd be missing anything as long as you know what you're getting. Okay, on to the disclaimers. Beyer Dynamic sent me the 1990 as a review unit. I have to send it back. They have not asked me or paid me to say anything. All opinions on both headphones are my own. The HD660 was sent in by a viewer. Thank you very much. You know who you are. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my patrons. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it, and I mean that. There are 3 patrons specifically I would like to call out. James Canada, thank you very much. Christopher Skordal, I'm sorry, I probably butchered your last name, I apologize. And Reese Bonahum, and I probably butchered that one as well, but thank you guys very much. You guys kick ass. I appreciate it. All right guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for watching. Merchandise, all my listed things, all the links to everything are down below. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.